James chapter 5, verses 19 through 20 is often used by those who believe you can lose your salvation as a proof text, but actually it's talking about correcting a believer who's wandered off into sin and faces potentially a premature death as a consequence of it. Now, it says in James 5, 19 to 20, "Brethren, if any of you do err from the truth, and one convert him, let him know that he which converts the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul," Greek word suke, "from death, and shall hide a multitude of sins." Suke means your life. You see this in Matthew 20, verse 28. Jesus says, "The Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister, and to give his life, suke, as a ransom for many." Jesus did not give up his eternal spirit, he gave up his life. That's what the word means. You see it in John 15:13. "Greater love has no man than this, that a man lays down his life for his friends." Jesus demonstrated that when he died for us on the cross. Does that mean that if you give up your spirit and go to hell that you've laid down your life for your friends? No. You gave up your life, your physical life in this world, for your friends. And that's what the word is talking about here in James 5, because there are some sins that lead to death. 1 John 5:16 says that. If you live a life characterized by sin, you're probably heading to an early grave, either as a consequence of those sins or the disciplinary hand of God. At the end of 1 Corinthians 11, you see people who are desecrating communion, and Paul says, as part of God's judgment, some of them had died early. You see Ananias and Sapphira were a good example of that in the book of Acts as well. Now, as for the correction aspect, you see a parallel passage to this in Galatians 6, verse 1. It says, "Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted." There's no mention whatsoever here of going to hell. And that's not what James 5 is talking about either. It's talking about restoring a brother or sister in Christ who is caught up in sin, and some sins are serious enough that they can lead to an early grave, a loss of life in this world, not going to hell. That's not what the passage is saying. So I hope this clears things up for you guys. Thank you. We've got a fundraiser down below. If you could check that out and share it, we'd really appreciate that. And God bless.